Welcome to our episode. Today I have a great guest who's going to talk about resilience. I'm very excited to hear his wisdom. His name is Francis Piche, and he has mastered advanced communication techniques that he uses to uncover the secrets of some of the world's most successful and noteworthy individuals, thanks to years of certifications and training with world-leading coaches. And hoping to share his resilience revelation with the world and help others discover it for themselves, Francis created the Resilience Element Show in order to create a documentary on the subject of resilience and following your passion. Isn't that exciting? I can't wait to hear more about this. So I'm sure Francis will tell us more about the show and about everything. Francis, I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Milena.
So tell me your story. Why this topic? How did you get to this point?
Well, I think it's an interesting question because I talk to a lot of people that are trying to find their passion and trying to find their purpose. And I think at the end of the day, it's not something that comes like right away like that, right? It's an accumulation of so many different things. So I've explored I was always interested about success, about the science of happiness. So I've done the course on the science of happiness. And at one point, I think I wanted to talk about something that relates to me. And what I've analyzed is that I've looked at all the success I've had in my past and all the failures as well. And one element that was present or not, I found was the resilience. And so I just kind of thought about all my story. And then I came up with a formula that in all the times I had success, these components were always present. And the name of resilience element just came out of the fluke in some ways, because I knew it was resilience. I knew that I had to always be resilient and bounce back no matter what happens in my life in order to be successful. And then when you look at, so I was typing resilience code, and then the URL was taken, and then I typed resilience factor, and then it was taken. And then I thought, well, it's kind of an element that we have. It's something inside of us. We all have it. It's just a matter of reactivating. And then I just looked at resilience element, and it was free. And then the beautiful thing is when I looked at an acronym of RE, I found that it meant rhenium. So that's the rhenium in the periodic table. So RE means rhenium. And what's so amazing is that rhenium is the element that has the highest boiling point.
Oh, wow.
So it is actually the most resilient element. So then there came the logo, and I call it the RE75, and 75 is for the atomic number, and 7 categories of your life and 5 components of the resilience element.
Wow, there's no such thing as coincidence in life.
I think so.
Often, the periodical system is showing you what's going on. That's fantastic. That's awesome, the way you came up with the name. So how, you're talking about resilience, your show is about resilience. How are you helping people discover their resilience or activate it?
Yeah, well, that's basically the formula that I came with, and you can probably go with me in your mind, because if you just think about the breakthroughs that you had, I'm going to ask you some questions. Do you think that, let's say you had a big goal, and I can ask for all the people that are watching or listening. So think about the breakthroughs you had in your life. Did you have clarity about where you were going?
You mean from the beginning?
From the beginning, did you, you had a big goal? Was that clear in your mind what you wanted to accomplish for the things that you had a breakthrough in your mind?
Absolutely. It was clear what I wanted to accomplish. It wasn't clear how, right? The how wasn't, right?
Exactly. And so that's why we don't necessarily need always to find out the how, but at least we've got a kind of a clear pictures of exactly where we want to go. So for me, the resilience, there's 5 components. And if you have 5 of the components, I can guarantee you're going to accomplish your goal. You're going to reactivate your passion. So the first one is clarity. So people know exactly where they're going, but sometimes people are going in one direction, they change their mind, they go left, they go right. So that doesn't really help to be resilient and accomplish your goals, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is what I call the conviction. So for all the people that I've interviewed, and even in my own life, I always had a huge conviction about why I wanted to do it. So we call it the purpose, the reason. What is your purpose? Why do you really want to accomplish that goal? So if it's just, well, yeah, I want it, but don't ask me why. That's cool. That's not going to be so strong, and that's not very resilient. So, but if you say, well, that's the most important for me in my life because I want to change the world. That's how I get my level of energy. That's how I get so excited about helping the people. Then you're way stronger than people that have like a soft conviction, right? So that's the second component. The third one is what I call the certainty. So the certainty is like, imagine like the kids, they're just trying to walk. They're looking at us. I don't think that any of them would say, I'm done. Just going to crawl. I just tried so many times. I'm going to stop. And the reason is just because they're so certain about the fact that they're going to walk. There's no question in their mind that they're going to not walk. They see all of us walking. They're like, okay, well, I'm going to try a million times. It doesn't matter. I'm going to walk. And then the fourth one is commitment. So obviously you can have the clarity, you can have a big reason why you're certain about it, but if you don't do anything, if you don't do any actions, even if you don't know how, you can start to at least apply some actions on a consistent basis, and you never stop. So, for me, I look at the people that are going into a gym, for example, or people that have resolutions at the beginning of the year. I think, is it 92% of them that are not following up on the resolution after 15 days?
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's actually pretty sad. Majority of people doesn't even set the New Year's resolutions anymore because they're so disappointed. They know they're not going to follow through.
So some other ways actually I think one of the reasons is because maybe their goal is big, which is amazing. They can have a big goal, but their commitment is too big. So what I mean by that is if you're saying, okay, so, and I was talking to one of my coaching clients, like, okay, so you know what, I think I'm going to do Facebook Lives and I'm going to do 3 this week. Said, how many Facebook Lives have you done in the last 2 months?
Yeah.
0. So I said, how about you just set the goal that maybe 1 every 2 weeks now, or 1 every week. Let's start with that. Be consistent. And you know what? People get excited because now they've done it. So they gain momentum. They want to do more. And maybe they're going to end up doing 3 per week, but their commitment is small. So people that want to go to the gym in the beginning of the year, they're like, I'm going to go 5 days a week, but you didn't go to the gym for 5 months. So no, and then eventually that's not going to work, right? So make it easy, be consistent, simple and easy action on a consistent basis. It's like putting money in RSPs. It's small, you don't see it for a while, but if you look at the line of people that are doing it, people that are not, there's a huge difference at the end. So that's the 4th component. And the 5th one, I think, is one of the essential components as well, is courage. Because we know that we can know exactly where we're going, we know why we're doing it, we're certain about it, we're committed, but I don't know anybody that didn't hit an obstacle. We're gonna hit the wall, for sure. And sometimes it hit pretty hard. And in my own life, it happens. So what do you do when that happens? And I actually was interviewing someone yesterday about that component. There's so many ways of basically re-elevating your energy levels so that you can keep on going. And so that could be meditation, exercises, gratitude, social connection, but you're gonna be courageous in order to continue. So I think that if you have those 5 components, you're gonna be really resilient and you can accomplish anything you want in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens when people don't have resilience?
Well, in general, they see that their goal is not really happening. They feel depressed. They feel that they're getting bogged down, and which is normal. I'm not saying, nobody's perfect. I do have my moments. The beauty, though, is that the fact that I took so many actions, the fact that I have in my memory, I can say, yeah, I know how to do this. So it takes less and less time for me to jump back and bounce back to what I want to do. And that comes with experience, and that comes with the fact that I took action, and I don't really care anymore about what people would think about something. I just do it for myself to help people. That's another thing. People sometimes they're scared of taking an action because they're scared about what the other people would say, or the society, or their friends, and that's not so easy. But when you're resilient, and a great exercise that I did actually is, let's say I say, Milena, take your agenda and just go 5 years from now, and just say that in 5 years, that's going to be the day you're going to die. So what are you going to do? And that's what my coach asked me a year and a half ago. And he said, because I was hesitating in between 2 things. One was more, short-term gain, but not really necessarily following my passion. And the other one, which is my passion, is what I'm doing right now, trying to have a big impact on the world by interviewing the people so that they get the inspiration and reactivate their passion. Then when he asked me that question, I went, boom. I knew exactly that's what I wanted to do, because what are you going to do in that 5 years? You know, if I say you have 1 week to live, you're going to say, oh, sorry, Francis, podcast is over. Gotta go. I got to just enjoy my time. And if you have it for a month, you might say, I'm selling everything. If you have a lot of means, maybe you're going to do it for a year. But 5 years, it's a big chunk of time, and you can accomplish so much. So what are you going to do? Who do you want to become in that time? Who do you want to be with? And so it kind of helps to say, you know, what's your purpose?
Yeah.
And then if people are saying it's not going to work, well, it doesn't matter. That's the certainty factor that you have inside, which there's an exercise for it as well. But yeah, it's so to answer your question, long answer for the question. If you're not resilient, I don't know if you can really accomplish your big goals. Yeah. I don't think it's going to happen. The beauty is that you have it inside you. So all you need is someone that's going to help you to reactivate it. So that might be an accountability partner, a coach, reading, and most importantly, apply what you learn.
Absolutely. So Francis, here's a question that I'm going to ask for a lot of people out there. I'm just going to put myself into their position.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed this in your practice, but in my practice over these years that I've been coaching people, I've noticed that some people are simply so demotivated, so down, that they literally don't see the light, how they could shift, how they could change. Have you had that kind of experience? And if you had, how do you help them from that point, which is, you know, pretty desperate, getting up, finding their resilience?
Well, things that comes to my mind is obviously you have to ask a lot of questions. You know, I would say that there's the purpose is a big one. Like some people are demotivated and they lost purpose in themselves. So I think the foundation is you got to love yourself. I mean, I know personally that I had a big breakup at one point, and the only time that it decided to change was when I felt that I was good enough, was when I felt that I was able to be okay with the fact that I'm not with that person anymore. And I didn't accept anything of what that person was doing to me, as an example. So I think there's a pain and pleasure component. So the day when you feel that making a change is actually where it's going to be less painful, then you change. So sometimes, you know, people, what I say is that they haven't hit the bottom yet. So sometimes, you know, when you hit the bottom, you're like, that's it. That's enough. I'm good. I want to change. This is too painful. So I'm changing now, because not changing is too painful. Mm-hmm. So for me, you know, 21 years old, top of the world at that time, you know, graduated for the big university, great job. Everything's going well, making a lot of money compared to my friend, super awesome. And then 3 months before the wedding, my fiance said, the wedding is canceled. And I just started a new job, and I was at Xerox. I don't know if people know how Xerox is, but I was well known for being super good in, like, great training in sales. You got to show up, put your smiles, put your mask on. I'm on probation. I have to be strong, because otherwise I'm out. So it was a hard time, you know. It's like you're living that personally while you have your job. And then I was trained to gain her back for probably 3 months. You know, and I'm sharing this, didn't even thought that I would share that story, but you know, what happened is that we wouldn't see each other for a week, and then I would see her on the weekend. So I was kind of recuperating the whole week, getting better, seeing her, great pill of happiness, and then boom, a big down on Monday. And so it was kind of what's the word? You know, people when they're taking drugs, I felt that I had my little pill of happiness, and then I had to a withdrawal. That's what it was. And I was doing it for 3 months. It was draining. Mm-hmm. So at one point I thought, you know what? I mean, I knew that I've done my best. I've suffered enough. I love myself enough. There's going to be someone that's going to love me for sure. I'm young, and you just kind of go through it, and then you make a change. So demotivation, I think, is, I'd say people are probably comfortable in where they are right now. Maybe they haven't suffered enough in some ways. Mm-hmm. And I would say there's probably self-limiting beliefs. People can do so much more than they think. And it's all wired in their brains. So, there's one day in general that people make a decision. And I knew that. I'm like, why did I not make that decision 3 months ago? Mm-hmm. So there's a day where you wake up and you're like, that's it. I'm done. I change. That day can take 1 second, can take 1 minute, 1 year, 10 years. But there's going to be a day it's going to change. So it's just a matter of time. How do you want to prolong that pain? And then when you're done, you're like, okay, I move on. And then you have another purpose. So I would really question people about, why are you saying you're not motivated? And then you start to receive a lot of self-limiting beliefs. Well, I'm not good in this. I'm not good. And who said that? We're so much better than we think. So it's by asking questions and really seeing what the limiting beliefs are. And sometimes it's either people are comfortable, or, they're not aware of how beautiful and amazing they are.
Yeah. And that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. I don't know if you struggle with this, but I absolutely do. When I see through their masks right into their soul sometimes, and I see who they are. Yeah. And if they could only see what I see, they could do so much more, right? And I think that's the pain of coaches, right?
Yeah, and it's I have a coach, my coach has a coach. We all have our blind spots. It's that's why I actually have an accountability partner. So it's one of my friends, and we're coaching each other on a weekly basis, 7:30 in the morning. And so we have half an hour spending time on him. He spends time on me, and I still have a coach, because the coach is for me like the foundation. It's all my self-limiting beliefs. So, and every week I win something. Every week I learn something. And that's the same thing with my coach. And so the beauty is that we're all helping each other. And it takes another person to see an angle that we can't see. And Absolutely. That's the beauty of having a coach, right?
Yeah, every good coach has a coach.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. And I have my coaches, more than one, I have to say.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's a specific coach in one area. Like, for example, it could be a real estate coach, so that teach you exactly something specific about real estate. But then the mindset coach is another one. And then you can have a golf coach. So people that are really going far in life, I feel, are the people that are, and being able to be vulnerable to have a discussion with someone that maybe can point out some of the things that they don't want to really uncover.
Yeah.
Once you go through that, then you gain so much. You gain so much, and you can help other people as well.
Absolutely. And can we dispel a myth? It just came to my mind right now. I didn't know we're going to be talking about this, but I've heard from so many people saying, when I tell them I'm a coach and in personal development, that they literally put their hands up and, oh, I'm okay. It's all good with me. I don't need your help. To tell that personal growth is not about being something wrong with you. It's about growth. How do you explain that? Let's talk about this.
I think personally, and I know exactly what you're saying. I have a friend that's, she doesn't really believe in coaching. She's not so sure. And the funny thing is, in some conversation, I don't need to do it, but I'm coaching her. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water right now. And each time say, oh, that was a great conversation, Francis. I feel so much more energy each time that we talk. I think the answer is that sometimes people, the student is ready for the master. You know what I mean? So you cannot really force people. And I, you know what? I remember, like, I just had a flash in my mind. I remember when that relationship was over, I went to see a psychologist. Just wanted to know if, that could be useful. And that person asked me a question. It was such a profound question that I felt, you know what? I'm going to sit on that, and I'll come back when I'm ready. And I only had one session, but it was a really big question. And I was not so ready to really talk about the whole thing. I went to the books, I went to everything. And then one day I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm ready to invest in myself. I can see that other people are doing it. And the beauty is that right now we're in a society that coaching is accepted spirituality is accepted. We can talk about the elevating your vibes. We have the science of happiness that tells how much our thoughts are so powerful. So if we compare that 20 years ago and now, I think people could feel so much comfortable to go for coaching. And if they're not ready, they'll be ready one day. So
yeah. And you know what, you made a very, very good point that I'd like to just, elaborate a little bit on it. You just nailed it right now, because you said today, we're open to spirituality and coaching and so on. It is about personal development. It's about learning these new ways of existence, literally learning of using the new ways of how we use our belief system, how we use our mind, how we use our emotions in a way so we can exist better and more efficiently in the world. And I think you just pointed that out so well.
Well, and now it just made me think about something. I feel and I noticed that for me, the most important thing is your inner power, what I call the inner power. Because I actually even wrote down, I was, thinking about abundance. And each time that something great happened, money and abundance is just a flow of energy. And so it's funny how the society puts everything in reverse. So we're saying, when you have success, you're going to be happy. You're going to have to be happy, and then you'll have success,
Yes.
So there's so many things that we have to fix. First is ourself. And I call that energy level. So when you're happy, when you exude happiness and gratefulness, people want to be around you. Yeah. And if you help them, you start by giving, you give them something of value, you help their life, you with their business, as a friend or whatever, and then it comes back to you in so many different forms. And one form is abundance. One form is love. And so when you're strong internally, when your own machine is strong internally, you can do anything. Mm-hmm. So it's not about the outward things. It's an inner work that you have to do first. That's for me was one of the most important things that I noticed. So, and even, I guess in sales, I've been always in sales all my life. And I knew that when I'm going to see a client, if I don't feel like it, how can I make my client feel like buying my stuff? It's almost impossible. If the client feels that I'm going there for a paycheck versus helping my client for his business, and there's another guy that goes for helping the business and not the paycheck, who's going to be chosen as a provider? So it's all internal. It's so important, right? And I think it's the most profound thing. So if you're resilient inside, if you're happy inside, and you can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so right. So we are really learning to live from a new place, not what we were used to. When I'm going to see results, I'm going to be happy. Rather turn it around, be happy, and then you're going to see results. Thank you.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about your passion project?
Oh, passion project. It's that's another thing. When you're gaining slow momentum, everything is amazing. So I was just featured in the Thrive Global 5 days ago. So, and it just happened. Things are happening. And, my passion project is that that was the question that my coach asked me 1.5 years ago. So he said, which one are you going to go to? So I imagine a documentary where I'm going to just interview pretty much all the remarkable leaders that are not necessarily famous, that could be non-famous, all the people in the society that explains their story about resilience. So imagine if you can hear, that could be a single mom, that could be a businessman, that could be an artist, that could be a musician, whatever, but they had at one point of their life, successful people, they had to make a choice. Yeah. And they had to make a choice of continuing or to stop. So imagine if we can understand the mindset that they had and what they did so that they basically remove the obstacles to grow their life or their business. Imagine if we can get that inspiration. So that's my goal. I ask myself, if I'm dying in 5 years, I love people. I love to be on stage. I love to do live event, and I love to interview people. So if I can just grab that beautiful wisdom and share it back to the world, for me, I'll be forever grateful. I'll be super happy. And I've seen documentaries that can change the world. And I think that this one, with a personal interaction, an interview with so many different people, it's going to help them to reactivate their passion. That's the goal. We're so afraid to go for our passion because of the limiting beliefs we have in our mind, or what we think that, it's not possible for financial reasons. But a lot of people took risk. And when they followed their heart, abundance came back. Yeah. And that's my story, basically. You asked me what's my story. I followed and I chased paychecks all my life to realize that that's not how I'm going to get fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And the times where I was so successful is when my heart was on the table and I was so happy about what I was doing. And then I was purely resilient for all the reasons that I mentioned before. So that documentary will be a way of helping the people and inspire them to follow their passion, reactivate it.
I think that's an awesome passion project, really awesome, because I truly believe that every successful person out there has their resilience story.
Yes.
Each and every one. And none of us could make it if we didn't have it, actually.
Exactly.
It's transcending the story. Okay, something bad happened, something tragic happened. What are you going to do about it now?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because I talk to people that you can interview me, or you can interview my friend. We're all resilient in some ways. So it's a matter of reactivating it. And sometimes that's little spark, that one person that you can relate to. That's why I want to interview different kinds of people, because if you're like saying, that's just business people, that's not me. I'm an artist. It's not me. And then if I interview all these people, I want to actually just try as much as I can to inspire as much people as I can, with different types of personalities, so that people would say, I can relate with that person.
I don't think you're going to run out of resources because there are so many stories out there. I think you're going to have problems how to narrow it down, and to include. And
the thing is, I also want to, I'm also, I guess, I love science. So for me, that would also be interviewing the gurus and the people in the science world, I lose my word now.
Neuroscience?
Exactly. So all these people, science of happiness, science of positive psychology, all these people that can also bring their perspective to not just say it's a good story and that's a feel-good story, which could be plenty enough to motivate people and inspire them, and also bring that science behind and say, look, it's working. It's a science-based thing. You can rewire your brain. You have self-limiting beliefs because you've been on that path for so long, 40 years of programming. Your software hasn't been updated. You need to update your software right now. You think that this is the reality, but that reality started 40 years ago, or 15 or 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah. Wow. That's a very, very good example. Your reality started 40 years ago. I love it. I mean, that's so true. We are so conditioned, so programmed. I mean, sometimes I'm thinking, wow, it's actually, we're quite lucky to be able to do any positive changes in life because of what we received during the course of our life.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm so happy you're sharing this, because people need to know this. People need to be aware what's inside of me, the programming I have, because we know that up until age of 6, we are like sponges, right? Everything it goes in our mind, and it stays there, pure programming. And when people get to understand that, they're going to start doing something about it.
Yeah, and it's like a brain. Like, imagine if you look at the history of the brain has acted for a while, and it was very useful, like just a way of preventing danger, or when there's an alarm, the amygdala goes on, and it's like, no, you have to do something, fight or flight. And now in the reality, there's no more tigers really in the bush. Like, we're not going to get killed. Like, but the brain is still reacting that same way. So once you're aware of it, that's why mindfulness is so important. And I think that's what the coaches are bringing. They're bringing like a different perspective, like I said. And meditation for me helps me so much to just be mindful of my thoughts. And sometimes I'm thinking, wow, how did it go from here to here so fast? And I was just that snap of the wire that just went boom. And then I'm thinking, wow, this was just a habit, but this is not reality. So I can change that. So it takes practice. And that's why, like I said, for courage, building your courage, one of the best ways is meditation.
Yeah, absolutely. The meditation opens us up to new possibilities that we haven't known about before. And you know what I like about you? You're doing basically the same things as I am in terms, I mean, you're teaching different subjects and so, but we both are using the neuroscience and the meditation. So we connect the mindfulness, the mind and spirituality. And I think that is so awesome because that's really where we need to go today.
Yeah, and you know what? Now we can see it. And I talked to some people, one of my friends, Dirk Terpstra, and he's doing the heart math technology. And so they're working with some of the police people in Holland just for their breathing. So police people are using it. There's soldiers that are meditating. So it's not like meditation is not like the gypsy type of thing that we have in our mind. That's not it. Like, I mean, the way I see it, and for me, if I don't meditate, I panic way more. Panic meaning like something comes in, and instead of just waiting and looking at different perspective, I feel that when I meditate, it's like the Matrix movie. You know, when that bullet comes in, I'm able to just go slowly and look at it, versus if I don't, then it hits me and then I react instead of really responding, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Great. I'm really happy about having you here today and sharing this. Is there any other spiritual components you're using other than meditation in your work?
Well, I work with a friend of mine who's a spiritual profiler. And so she's actually working even with, she was a paramedic and her husband is a police guy. So sometimes it's really about raising the level of your energy. And so I'm not the one that would work on that, but I know that it's very beneficial. So sometimes if I feel that there's a blockage or something, I can really refer my clients to people like her. She's a Reiki Meister. She's, like I said, a spiritual profiler. I believe in that. Some people might not. So if they don't, then we can just use other tools. I think Absolutely. It's very useful.
Yeah. So just let's go back to your resilience element. So what kind of people are looking for your help? Who can you help?
I think people that are mostly, for me, I work well with people that are in sales or people that are business owners, because I know that they have to take some risks sometimes. And I love to work with entrepreneurs because I know it's a passion-driven project, and they have such an amazing idea that they have to continue to work on. And sometimes it's just a matter of reactivating that resilience. And people in sales were facing rejections all the time. So I know resilience is key. And other people that might think that, it's very important for them, absolutely. So the resilience element, that's why there's 7 categories of life. Eventually what I'll do is I'll have a live event with other people that can help them in those categories. So I'm more focused on the business side and life as well, because I think it's merged together, of course. And if there's anything about nutrition, or if there's anything about exercise, if there's anything about spirituality, then I can have other people that can help them with the resilience on that.
Yeah, because absolutely everything's connected. If you are eating stuff that are not good for your body, you're not even going to have energy to be resilient.
Yeah.
Connected.
Absolutely. It's food goes inside us. So we were talking about inner power. I mean, if you put great things inside your body, great things are going to come out. For sure. Eating burgers every day, not so sure your level of energy is going to be that good, So yeah, all those components are all interrelated. So there's 2 things that I can talk about, obviously, exercising, water, having like raw food and good ingredients. But if you're asking me the details of it, there's nutritionists for it. So for me, my key is really taking a look at people that have an objective. So here's the thing. So it could be anybody that has a big goal that they want to accomplish, and we'll go through that formula and work together and apply it. And then the coaching comes in. So I can't work with everybody. I only want to work with 10 people because, the documentary is taking a lot of my time. And the 10 people that I work with, I don't have 10 people yet, but I'm getting there. So if people are interested, that's good. I want to be with someone that I truly love and they truly love me, because I'm passionate and I want to be as passionate as they are on their project, so that synergy goes so well. So, and then the online courses will come up, so people will still be able to have all the knowledge and the nuggets of the resilience element. And so there's various ways basically to just reactivate your passion right now.
That's fantastic. Really, really good. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. This was a very, very inspiring conversation. Tell me, where can our listeners find you?
So the best way is theresilienceelement.com. So that's my website. Same thing with Facebook. So if they want to have some quotes or see some of the Facebook lives that I do on a weekly basis, I give some tips that might be useful for them. So they can just join facebook.com/theresilienceelement. And that's it. So facebook.com, the resilience element, or the resilienceelement.com.
Awesome. That's easy to remember, theresilienceelement.com.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for being here. Inspiring, powerful conversation that I hope will help many to find their resilience element.
Well, thanks for having me, and congratulations for doing exactly the same thing, elevating the life of people, raising their level of energy so that, they can see a beautiful change in their life. So thank you.
Thank you so much.